Phrases and periods. Okay. So a phrase in music is kind of like a phrase in English. You know, we talk about phrases or clauses and sentences. You know, so I went to the market, but they didn't have any milk. You know, I went to the market, but pause. They didn't have any milk. Finished. You know, period. Right? I went to the market, but you know, period, comma. Yeah. They didn't. They were all out of milk. They never know. So then that's the end of your phrase. So a phrase is that shorter unit, not the whole thing, but the shorter unit where there's a pause. There's some sort of pause. So a phrase ends with some sort of pause. And so a phrase in music would be some sort of thing that ends with some sort of cadence. Okay? It could be a perfect authentic, it could be an imperfect authentic, it could be anything, but you're going to end with a cadence here at the end of a phrase. That's what marks the end of a phrase, is a cadence. Okay. And if we put two phrases together, we get what we call a period. So let's say this is phrase 1 and phrase 2. Okay? And let's say this ends with an imperfect authentic cadence and this ends with a perfect authentic cadence. That would be a very typical setup. And that would be kind of like the example I was just talking about. I went to the market, but, so you know it's ended and I'm pausing, but you know that there's something else to come on because it's an imperfect authentic cadence. But they didn't have any more milk. Boom. Finished sentence, phrase, thought, in. Okay. And so the two of those together we call a period. Everybody okay with that? Now the other thing we talk about in terms of phrase structure is something called antecedent and consequent. Antecedent and consequent. The antecedent phrase is the one that kind of like asks the question or leaves you with the half cadence or the imperfect authentic cadence. And the consequent phrase is the one that finishes off the thought. Right? So antecedent, you know, the preceding, consequent, the result of. You want to think of it that way. Yeah. The antecedent sets things up, and the consequent phrase finishes off the thought. Or you can think of it as the antecedent asks the question, and the consequent phrase answers it. So if I was asking like a rhetorical question, like, do you all understand phrase structure? Yes, you do. Do you all understand phrase structure, antecedent? Yes, you do. Consequent. You know, question, answer, or first part of this phrase, second part of the phrase. Everybody okay with that? Okay.